I forgot to post the very last part of this press briefing on my last video, but let me just say this first before I play this crazy part of this video. The cognitive dissonance with which people seem to be further cementing themselves in with regard to this situation with the stated Gaza takeover by the President of the United States. I mean, they're literally using the destruction that Israel has inflicted on Gaza as a justification for invasion and displacement. Some would call this an ethnic cleansing, but for some reason, MAGA Kool-Aid drinkers aren't offering a modicum of condemnation for Trump's suggestion that we, quote, the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling the bombs and other weapons on the site. We'll level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings. We'll level it out and create an economic development, end quote. And then, quote, we're going to take over that piece and we're going to develop it. And then, quote, long-term ownership position with regard to the takeover of Gaza. So they're literally using the destruction that was wrought by the hands of Israel, that was funded by the United States in Gaza. They're using that destruction as a justification for invasion and displacement. With that as the backdrop, listen to what the press secretary said today.
Is he looking at offering anything to these Arab countries that take in Palestinians? Is he willing to give them anything in return? And secondly, when the president announced his taking over Gaza policy yesterday, was Netanyahu aware of this? And what was his reaction when Trump presented that idea to him?
I won't get ahead of the president's discussions or negotiations on your first question about what would be offered. I think the president's made it clear that he expects these nations in the region to step up and to accept Palestinian refugees who will be temporarily relocated for the rebuilding of Gaza.
We're moving in there to Gaza. We're taking it over. We're going to displace all the Palestinians there. And now there's going to be these refugees that the other nations need to take in while we're doing our thing, our temporary thing over here. There's nothing so permanent as a temporary government program.
For whether Prime Minister Netanyahu was aware before the president's remarks, he was indeed. I wasn't present for that reaction. But again, this is something the president has been socializing.
So the president's press secretary is saying that Netanyahu was aware of what Trump was about to say.
And thinking about for quite some time. Jeff.
Thanks very much. Two questions. One, the president yesterday used the word permanent for permanently resettle Palestinians. I hear you saying temporarily today. Is that a shift or a specific change that you want to highlight? And my second question is, yesterday he spoke about the U.S. owning Gaza. Who owns Gaza now, and how would the U.S. acquire ownership?
Well, Gaza is currently run by Iranian-backed terrorists in the Middle East, Hamas, who we all agree, I think everybody in the region agrees, that can no longer stand. Just look at the events of October 7th and the events since.
And why is Hamas continuing to propagate the bloodshed? What help have they received? Who have they received help from? Who has Hamas received help from? Have they received help from Israel? Have they received help from the United States? Are they perpetuating this conflict?
And the president, again, is committed to rebuilding the region for all people who want to return to it once it is no longer a demolition site and it's a place where people can actually live and thrive in harmony, as he said last night. His words, not mine. Daniel.
Here we go. Listen to this.
Temporarily resettle? Can you just clarify
The president has made it clear that they need to be temporarily relocated out of Gaza for the rebuilding of this effort. Again, it's a demolition site right now. It's not a livable place for any human being. And I think it's actually quite evil to suggest that people should live in such dire conditions.
It's evil to suggest that the Palestinians should stay in Gaza and not be relocated during the takeover of the United States. So your objection to the United States/Israel takeover of Gaza, your suggestion and your objection to that is evil. You're evil because you don't think the United States should take over Gaza and make it a better place to live? because you don't care about the horrendous living conditions that the Palestinians are living in. We're going to invade them. We're going to ethnically cleanse the area. We're going to drive out all the Palestinians, making them all refugees, but you're evil for suggesting that they stay in Gaza. That is crazy business. And then you have Ian Carroll, who is very popular on the internet these days. And he says, unpopular opinion, there seems to be more to Trump's plan for Gaza than meets the eye. As I say a million times in this video, I'm not necessarily for it, but I also don't have a better solution than invasion and occupation and ethnic cleansing. Ian, what the heck is going on here? To all my American First homies, I'd argue that Israel's level of subversion of the U.S. government makes actively dismantling Israel's global power system an American first policy. I'm not sure it justifies boots on the ground taking land like this, but I'm not sure how else you do it now that we're at this point. I welcome others' thoughts on it. How about we don't do it? Because number one, it's not right to do it. We wouldn't want somebody doing that to us. And number two, we can't afford it. We can't afford it in terms of monetary outlook or physical outlook, as in boots on the ground and let's deploy a whole bunch of soldiers to die in a battle in the Middle East that's only going to benefit the banksters, because all conflicts only benefit the banksters. And then we've got Dave Smith saying this: Trump has done a lot of good things in the past few weeks, but it's hard to overstate how awful the Gaza idea is. You think, Dave? And we've been warning everybody about this since before the elections have taken place. Same thing's going to happen. He's going to be a warmonger. He's going to do the bidding of Israel. Look how much money he got from the Adelsons. Look how in the back pocket of Israel he was in the first term. Even Netanyahu, when he came up on the podium yesterday, when they spoke, he and Trump spoke, the first thing he said was, Israel has never had a better friend as president of the United States than Donald J. Trump. That tells you everything you need to know about where Trump's loyalties lie. And then Dave Smith says, committing an ethnic cleansing on behalf of Israel, which that's what it is, who has wanted exactly that way before October 7th, and taking ownership of the region is about as awful idea as any president has ever had. I hope he reconsiders. And let me just show you, before I show you what Whitney Webb says, let me show you a real quick snippet where Peter Doocy asks, would Palestinians have the right to return to Gaza if they left during the rebuilding? Listen to what Trump says here.
Peter? Would Palestinians have the right to return to Gaza if they left while the rebuilding was happening?
It would be my hope that we could do something really nice, really good, where they wouldn't want to return. Why would they want to return? The place has been hell. It's been one of the meanest, toughest places on earth.
We want to make something really nice so that they wouldn't want to return. They're going to be gone for a long, long time. And in the comments, people are literally trying to cover for Trump after he said this, trying to explain away what exactly he said. A journalist cries out, but it's their home, sir.
And right now, I've seen every picture from every angle, better than if I were there. And nobody can live there. You can't.
What if another nation said, you know what we're going to do? We are going to, and I'm going to use the quote that Trump used as far as the takeover of the Gaza Strip. Let's say China said, we will take over Israel and we will do a good job with it too. We'll own it. We'll own Israel and be responsible for dismantling all the dangerous unexploded bombs in the region. We're going to level Israel out, and we're going to create an economic development. We're going to take over Israel and we're going to develop it. And we're going to establish a long-term ownership position. These are all the words that Donald Trump used for the U.S.'s invasion in Gaza. What if China used that same terminology saying, hey, we're going to invade Israel? What do you think the United States position would be on that?
Live there. So if we can build them through massive amounts of money supplied by other people, very rich nations, and they're willing to supply it. If we can build something for them in one of the countries, and it could be Jordan, and it could be Egypt, it could be other countries, And you could build 4 or 5 or 6 areas. It doesn't have to be one area. But you take certain areas and you build really good quality housing, like a beautiful town, like someplace where they can live and not die. Because Gaza is a guarantee that they're going to end up dying. The same thing's going to happen again. It's happened over and over again. And it's going to happen again as sure as you're standing there, Peter. So I hope that we could do something where they wouldn't want to go back. Who would want to go back? They've experienced nothing but death and destruction.
We're going to knock them out of their homeland. We're going to level Gaza. We're going to rebuild it the way we want to rebuild it. Hand it over to Israel, because that's why he's gotten campaign funding from the Adelsons and Israel. That's why he did all the things he did for Israel. That's why Israel calls him the best friend they've ever had in the White House. Will Chamberlain says, you guys aren't thinking big enough about what Trump is saying about Gaza. The Gaza Strip will be ours. American property, American sovereignty, and overseas territory, not someone else's territory where we are guests. Our property, where we can enforce our immigration rules. Spoken like a true empire builder. And Whitney Webb says, think bigger, guys. Let's take other people's land and call it American property. It will be ours. This is Make America Great Again, expanding our territory whenever and wherever we want. Not about improving the lives of actual Americans in the current 50 states, more military adventurism and bigger empire. These attempts at spinning the Gaza policy announcement are bonkers, and I totally agree. The occupation of foreign territory is now good as long as we claim it's ours. And again, you don't hear one word of substantial pushback from Team MAGA. This is frickin' ridiculous. If Biden was trying to do this, Republicans would be going through the frickin', they would have already, their minds would be just spilled onto their desks. But somehow, when it's Trump who does it, when he's the nation builder, he's not seen as the Dick Cheney he should be seen as. He's not seen as a nation-building George H.W. George W. Bush. He's seen as, hey, this is the great peacemaker. This is the guy who's going to make America great again. He must have a 4D chess plan that I'm not privy to. So I completely trust the plan. Do you trust the plan? What do you think's going on here? What have I missed? Leave your thoughts about this. I would like to talk to Dave Smith. I would like to talk to Ian Carroll. I would like to talk about what's going on here and what the plan is for Gaza. And if it's a good idea, if it's righteous to do that, if it's right to do that, can we afford to do that? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and I will see you. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Obviously, this channel is extremely suppressed because we have all these ideas that, that don't jive with fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media. I'll see you in the next video.